Hello and welcome back to the Boxing Index podcast. I'm joined here today with my friend Jago. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, friends, a very liberal way of describing things, acquaintances at best. I'm very honoured to be on the one and only Boxing Index podcast.
This is the Whyte versus Povetkin podcast. We've just watched Chelli against Jack Cullen. What were your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts were Cullen has one of the worst tattoos I've ever seen in my life. Should serve a 5 to 8 year ban in boxing specifically for that tattoo. Other than that, I mean, I personally didn't see how that was a draw. I think we both had Chelli up by 3 or 4 rounds, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I had it 6-4 to Chelli by the end of it. I wasn't properly scoring it, so that might be a bit off. But I think, yeah, Cullen, he had a useful jab and he started okay, but I think Chelli was just landing the better shots throughout.
Completely agree. I think, like we said, Cullen just didn't use his range as perhaps he should have done. And I think that was surprising to everyone, Chelli included, in that the way he was throwing those overhand shots at the start was, finding it difficult initially to kind of land, coming around the back of the head a lot. But yeah, good fight. Great to start the evening with that.
Yeah, what did you think? So obviously there was one scorecard I think was 97-93, was it?
Yeah.
One was 96-95 and one 95-95. Which one of those scorecards do you think you aligned best with?
97-93 I think was fairest for Chelli, 4 rounds. I can see that. I mean, the early rounds, like we said, there wasn't a lot in it. I mean, I think, as is always typical, like the first round, I don't know how you can decide who that goes to. So Cullen probably just gets given it because of the name, right? And there were a couple of rounds like that when there were no clear winners. But I think from the third or fourth round onwards, I thought that Chelli was definitely, in every round, the more potent of the two.
Yeah, I thought towards the end of the fight especially, he was moving him around the ring really nicely. He was sort of landing, moving, getting out of the way. But yeah, I think all of the scorecards were probably a little bit off for me.
I mean, that was a big gap, right? I mean, big gap, 97-93.
Yeah, because I thought Chelli won it, but I didn't think it was that wide. But yeah, that was the first fight, and yeah, I mean, to be honest, for both men, I don't really know. I guess they just have to have a rematch because, I mean, they both have a loss on their record. If they both want to get to another level, they need to be winning this kind of fight. Like, neither of them, I mean, maybe British title level, super middleweight. I don't know who's got that at the moment at super middleweight. I don't think either of them are going world level, to be honest. So, yeah, I think probably just a rematch. One of them's got to win it, clearly, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure the fans want to see a rematch. I'm not sure there will be the demand for it.
Dude, I'm not sure I completely agree with it. There won't be any call for fans to have a rematch of that. I did think it was a good fight. I think... I mean, just look at their faces at the end of it. Like, they clearly both landed a lot. I think it was exciting. But, yeah, it's just because of the level that they can go to, I just think, like, there's never going to be crazy interest in that. But I think from a local perspective, from their fan bases, I think they'll definitely be calling for a rematch.
I think the only thing I'd say in response to that is that, they're very fortunate to be on this card, right? I mean... that was a big opportunity for both of them. And would you say that either of them really came out and seized that opportunity?
Well, in terms of obviously seizing it, in terms of like taking the fight and just absolutely dominating, obviously not, because it came out as a split decision draw.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of performing, they put together an exciting fight. They have styles that gel. So I think that could be put on the undercard of another. Obviously not while there's no crowds and while there's restricted amount of fights. But I think on the undercard of a fight up in, I think Cullen's from Manchester. Maybe on the undercard of a fight up in Manchester, that could be a decent one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing is we've probably ruined your chance, and when I say we, I mean me, of ever getting an interview with him. If he has a listen back, let's hope he doesn't make it past British level, because otherwise we are absolutely stuffed.
Right, and on that note, next time you'll hear us will be after the Babbage Winters fight, which I know you're very much looking forward to.
Absolutely, it's going to be the best fight of the night after Babbage. For those of you that were into, obviously, another real martial arts discipline, WWE, will remember Hell in a Cage, where the Undertaker was just on a madness. And I've heard that after Babbage, bringing chairs in, all that kind of stuff, I've heard that Babbage is going to be on the same sort of level. I cannot wait.
Right, we'll speak to you in a bit. And we're back joining you after Babbage Winters, which was over pretty quick. What were your thoughts, Diego?
Fantastic fight. Absolutely loved every second of it, and it was short. We just said at the start, there's no way really that either of them should be fighting at heavyweight at that weight. But Winters himself didn't even look like a cruiserweight, just got pushed about the ring. If I was swearing on this podcast, which I'm not, I was saying that he was made, Babbage's little word that rhymes with which. He was just never in it, was he?
Yeah, he definitely looked very skinny straight from the start. But yeah, I think that was nothing less than any of us were expecting, really. Babbage said he was true to his word, at least. He said he was going to go in there and knock him out. I think he wanted to do it before the fight even started, but he ended up doing it in the ring. Yeah, it was just devastating stuff, really. He just went in, he had that stance, hands under the chin, piled in, didn't care about getting hit, threw his punches, got out there. Quick payday.
It was quick. There was nothing technical or beautiful about it, was it? I think he was stood in front of him for the entire fight. He was just in front of him coming forward. The only trouble he was in was when he tried to throw that overhand right so hard and so off balance that he spun himself around a couple of times and would do 360s. But other than that, it was just, it's not one that is ever going to be studied as being part of the sweet, beautiful science or whatever of boxing. But as a fan, it's a tear-up that you love to see.
Yeah, would any part of you have liked to see the ref stop that a bit earlier? His eyes did almost go out of his head in that first round. I think it was fair enough. He got back on his feet. It's the rules of boxing. But yeah, do you think maybe the second round just was a beating that he just didn't really need?
Absolutely not. I think that if anything, as a fan watching, you probably want that to go an additional couple of rounds. These boys, they're professional boxers. They're not fairies. He took a couple of hits to the head. But it was nothing too serious. I think myself, I would have just eaten a few more of those shots, but I suppose I'm built different.
Right, on that controversial statement from Jago, we'll call it there and we'll see you at the end of Clay Congo. Thanks for listening. Wow. I don't really know what to say about that, to be honest. We've just we ended up not joining you back after the Clay Congo fight or the Bassoon Taylor one. We got distracted by pizza and beer. But yeah, we're back after the end of the Whyte Povetkin fight. We've just seen him get knocked out spectacularly in the fifth round. What's your immediate reaction?
I think I would like to quote the great American philosopher and leader of life, Owen Wilson. Wow. Outrageous. I don't think anyone saw that coming. What a one shot. We could tell he was just out as soon as it landed. Fight had to be called off. I don't think, as I was saying to you, I don't think it's that damaging for Dillian Whyte because of the nature of the defeat. There's that whole kind of cliche or whatever you want to call it of it's the heavyweight division, everyone's got a puncher's chance, one punch kind of idea gets floated around a lot, and I don't think you actually see it that often, but tonight was the example of that. And so I feel that it's not really going to have a knock-on effect on Whyte's career with the rematch clause in place. The only thing is it's going to make it very difficult for him to that's going to be something that's held against him from a Fury or a Joshua in any discussions, is the fact that he left himself open to that. But long and the short of it is it will just be similar to how what was for Joshua, just a learning curve for him.
Yeah, I think the main thing that will hurt him is the delay, to be honest, just because he's obviously waited there's so much made of this 1,000 days, and now so if he does well, we backed Eddie to have the rematch. We were waiting there to hear it, and he did have one in there, and I think you have to expect a similar outcome to what you expected before this fight. For that fight, you have to expect Dillian to win it. Dillian was outclassing him at the start, and then throughout it. And then, it was just that one punch. I agree with the fact that it was a one punch helps him in the future because, there's just nothing you can really do about that. There's nothing anyone could really... I know people were analysing it there, saying, he's vulnerable to that uppercut and that's something he needs to work on, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's just heavyweight boxing. That was just the punch that he took. I'm not sure there's anything that he can really do about that. But yeah, I think he should win the rematch, and then I'm guessing that he'll be pulled in for that re-announced date in August 2021.
Yeah.
So he'll get a summer fight, maybe a stadium fight, and he might get the winner of Fury Joshua, which would be even bigger.
Yeah.
So maybe in the long run this helps him. I mean, you got to look for silver linings or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously in the camp leading up to this fight, he had a 5-month camp, spent so much time out in Portugal, split with Mark Tibbs. Do you think anything can be made of that?
I was just going to say that I think, literally was going to mention that, is I think that would be the wrong thing for people to even jump on and say that there was any effect. I think it just has to be chalked up to being kind of part of the game, part of the, the sport they're in and the division they're in. There's no point, over-analysing, a kind of split-second moment, one punch. It wasn't like he went in there and from the start looked off the pace or didn't look at it. Quite the contrary. So it's completely different. Even though Joshua, obviously, in the first 3 rounds with Ruiz had looked good, it was completely different. And everyone knows the big deal that was made about that loss, and people trying to pin what it was. I think that was completely different in that it was overextended period of rounds that he looked, that something looked amiss, and then you can analyse. But when you've got someone who is just dominating the fight, and in a split second leaves himself open to a shot, and in a split second takes one shot that ends things. I mean, there's no point trying to then extrapolate back 3 months ago or 3 weeks ago and say, did this cause what happened there? Nah, I mean, it was just one of those things. It was very quick, happened, like I said, in that kind of immediate moment. And I think it just has to be chalked up to being a part of the sport, and probably part of the sport that, as fans, we all love and enjoy.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. I think you could even say Xavier Miller has probably done quite a good job with Whyte. I think he looked good in there. He looked composed, disciplined, clinical with those knockdowns as well. So yeah, I don't think can be put down to the change in trainer. I think it's worth obviously touching on Povetkin because he was the winner tonight. Credit to him. Even though I would say he looked a little bit maybe sluggish before, a bit slow, maybe age is getting to him, but they do say the last thing that leaves you as a heavyweight boxer especially is your power. He's got crazy consistency and dedication to the sport. He's come in the same weight for pretty much every fight of his career. Now he's 40, or he may be 41, I don't know. And still coming in at the same weight, still got the same dedication, same training. He looked in good shape. Can come in and do something like that. Yeah, he's just had a crazy career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that sponsorship deal he has with local Russian pharmacists that sell steroids is almost definitely going to have been benefit.
That's allegedly.
Supposedly. We cannot confirm or deny the rumours, but Eddie Hearn's going to be all over that blood testing, as he should be. But what a night of boxing. I think that whole show was fantastic. Every single fight in there was a great watch.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before about whether this deserved to be a pay-per-view and how we think it would do. Obviously, you can't change that after the fight on how you think it would do, but I think from what we saw tonight, it definitely warrants a pay-per-view. Yeah, I mean, we can go back to before, because if we missed the Taylor Persoon fight, what a fight. It was basically a complete remake of the first fight at Madison Square Gardens.
Yeah.
What did you think of the scoring in that at the end?
Well, I mean, we both have thought that it could get given to Bassoon, but I see she's come out afterwards and said that she accepts the, decision this time, that she hasn't got any grievances with it. But I did think again that she was landing. We both felt that. I think the commentary seemed to be saying that she wasn't, but I definitely saw some of them shots going through. And, I think that could have gone either way. At the end there, I felt that could have gone 6-4 either way. And one of the cards was had given it 5 rounds to Taylor, didn't they?
Yeah, 98, 93.
I mean, that's just, I don't know what fucking fight they were watching. I mean, that was just where, how, you know? So.
Yeah, I think, I don't really know what happened to Taylor. I think, it was definitely a close one. It could have gone either way, similar to the first one. But I don't know whether it was a stamina issue. I don't know whether her style just does not mesh with... Well, it meshes nicely, but I don't know whether her style just can't cope with Persoon's sort of relentlessness and backing her into a corner. But yeah, I don't know what happened. She came out at the start of every round, bouncy, trying to move around, pot shot her, and then just got dragged into these brawls. And then the last couple of rounds was just... I don't think either of them knew what they were throwing. They must have just been getting hit and just throwing and not even... I don't even know if they knew where they were looking where they were throwing. They could have ended up fighting the referee for all they knew. But yeah, it just ended up in a brawl like last time, basically. And I reckon there'll be quite a lot of controversy around that scorecard again, like there was last time. Do you think it's worth a third fight, or if you were Katie Taylor, would you be saying, I've got 2 of these, fuck getting back in there for that? That was an absolute nightmare both nights.
I mean, it definitely doesn't make sense to Katie Taylor's career to take it, does it? Because, I mean, it's a risky proposition and a risky fight. But I think in terms of, there would definitely be viewer demand, and it wasn't necessarily, like you say, especially towards the end, it just became a bit of a slugfest and a bit of a war. So from that standpoint, it wasn't necessarily the best advertisement for women's boxing from a technical point of view, but from the point of view of having a kind of fast-paced, gripping, exciting fight, I think what an advertisement for women's boxing. And so from the standpoint of fan interest, I think there would absolutely be demand for a third fight, but I don't think that Eddie Hearn would have any reason. I mean, it's not going to advance Taylor's career taking a third one, is it? So I think Amanda Serrano is the next stepping stone for her.
Yeah, well, I guess if they can get that to happen. But yeah, I think women's boxing's definitely delivered over this fight camp. Obviously, Jonas Harper, great fight. This was a great fight. Rachel Bull, Shannon Courtney, slightly lower in quality, but an upset, an exciting fight, interesting one. And then just the other fight we haven't spoken about on the card was Clay Congo. I thought it was a really measured, disciplined performance from Congo. I thought he played out his game plan perfectly. Wore Clay down over the rounds, got him out there in the 9th. What did you think of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thought it was a fantastic performance, and just turned on, in the 9th round, wanting to get that KO. But in terms of, like we were talking about with the first fight of the evening, that's almost what I mean about someone. Congo's come in there and has completely taken his opportunity on this card, right? Because he looked very good technically, outboxed him for the majority of the fight, and then got that knockout, got that exciting finish. I mean, that is someone whose stock will have risen dramatically as a result of the performance tonight.
Yeah. Do you think Eddie will be giving him a call?
I think he'll be getting the call from Eddie. I think Eddie will be giving both of them a call.
Yeah. Well, I'd say they both deserve it after tonight. And then just finally, what do we think of Fight Camp? A success?
I think it has to be. I mean, Eddie's obviously all about having saved boxing, and ultimately, I think the biggest. I mean, listen, tonight was a great watch, and like we said, definitely the whole evening was fantastic. Definitely warranted the pay-per-view. I think the biggest legacy that's going to come out of it is the effect on Whyte Joshua, and whether it makes that more likely. I think that's going to be the biggest thing to come. Fury Joshua. That's going to be the biggest effect. From it, if Whyte does beat Povetkin in a rematch and get given that delayed August date, then we have 6 to 8 months next year for the potential for that Fury Joshua fight to happen. Obviously, after Fury's finished with Wilder. So
yeah, I'd say as long as they manage to drag Wilder out of whatever hole he's been hiding in for the last couple of months and get him to have that third fight with Fury, yeah, I'd say that Fury Joshua fight should be on the cards for as they said. And originally when they said it, 2021, I thought there's no way that's going to happen. But yeah, at this point it looks like they might be able to get it done. I'd say overall Fight Camp's been a great success. I think there's been great fights on every card. If you look back, first card Cheeseman Eggington, second card Harper Jonas. Third card, I thought Zelfa Barrett, Donovan was a great fight, one of the best on all the 4 weeks. And then this week there were I'd say all of the fights were good this week. Yeah, and I think pretty much most of the fights over all the cards have been good. So yeah, I'd say Fight Camp's been a success overall. Any parting words?
No, just no, I can't say no more. I think I'm all out of words.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to go check us out at Boxing Index on Instagram and Twitter, and go check out our website, boxingindex.co.uk. You want to plug yourself at all, Jay?
Yeah, I was going to say, just drop me a little follow, Jago, that's spelled JAGO_Thomas on Instagram. Go and check out the photos there. Leave a couple of likes, leave some comments, DM some abuse if you want to. I love to get some fan kind of participation and engagement involved. So please do not feel scared in any way to just interact with my social media.
Well, on that note, thanks for listening, and join us again next week.